Welcome to Julie Whitney Scott Presents Let's Talk Theater, a Mind for God production sponsored event, heard only on WGRN LP 94.1, the Green Renaissance Station. Let's Talk Theater. Welcome to Let's Talk Theater. I am Julie Whitney Scott, and I'm so happy to have you with me once again as we talk theater with some of our really theater people right here in Central Ohio. I have with me today Miss Christy Farbach and Chris Leyva. They're from CATCO Theater. Now, everybody who's anybody in Columbus, Ohio knows about CATCO. Not only do they have the CATCO is Theater, but they also have CATCO is Kids. CATCO is Kids here. And now I've just got CATCO here with me today to talk about some of their upcoming shows that are happening right here in Central Ohio. Let's start off with Christy. Why don't you tell people a little bit first about who you are and what you do?
Okay. Julie, happy to be with you here today. So I am Christy Farbach, and I'm Executive Director of CATCO. My really fun tidbit about me is I accepted this position March 13th, 2020, around lunchtime, and by 5 o'clock, the theaters had closed. So that's how I got here. But prior to that, I guess my story goes all the way back. I was a music and business major at Otterbein, and that led me into a career of arts administration. Most of my career has been in and around arts organizations and various jobs. I spent a long time at the Ohio Arts Council, working in arts education, and then in community development, the arts and community development for a long time. Spent a little time in Hilliard schools. Those were the years where I was, raising my boys and wanted to be close to them and on their schedule. And then I had my own consulting company for about 6 years and worked really exclusively with arts and education organizations. That's my passion. And then right before I came to CATCO for about 3 years, I was executive director of the National Association of Women Business Owners in Columbus. We have the largest chapter here in Columbus. And so worked, advocacy work on behalf of women business owners, which was super fabulous work. And then I've known, my boys and I were subscribers to Phoenix Theater for Children for about 10 years when they were little. And I knew Stephen Anderson for a long, long time, and was reading Business First one day, and I knew he was going to retire, but I didn't know they were going to split the position into two jobs. And I said to my husband oh my gosh, this is the job for me. This is where I think I'm going to apply for this job. And I thought about it and talked to some people I trusted. And I really believe that, Julie. I just believe that all my training and my love of the arts and arts administration has led me to this moment, right? I just love supporting artists and the creative process. And I have such a great partner in Lita Hoffman. I hit the jackpot with her, right? I came first, Lita came in August. People said to me, maybe you don't want to take that job until you know who your partner is going to be. And I just believed it would be okay, right? And it's more than okay, it's great. So that's a little bit of my short story, how I got here.
Yes, I've had Leela here a couple of times, and you two make the dynamic duo at CATCO, and especially with your background and her background, we're really blessed, and their CATCO is blessed to have you. Chris and I, guys, we work together as mentors for MadLab's Youth Writers Workshop. So I know him a little bit as far as that goes. But Chris, why don't you tell people about you?
Sure. For me, my relationship with CATCO specifically has been all over for several years. I write plays, I direct plays, and I also do for my day job, I do a lot of graphic design and video editing and other things like that. So what's been really nice in my time at CATCO is I've been able to use every part of my experience, not just the theater experience, but the video editing. I've done projection work for CATCO. I've written plays for CATCO as Kids. I've done things like install new RAM in the computers for them. I mean, I really have been a little bit of a Swiss Army knife at CATCO's disposal, ready to collaborate and play. And when Christy and Lita came on, I was ready to step aside for a little while and be like, well, once the new leadership gets their footing, figure out how they do things and how they work together, maybe after a couple of years, they can, I'll start to find a way to be involved again. And right away, I got an invite to a meeting to chat with Lita about CATCO and the future and where I saw myself and what my experience has been. And from that moment, it was, hey, what do you think about doing some digital design work for a Columbus Christmas Carol? And we had no idea what virtual theater looked like at CATCO. We knew what it was sort of looked like, doing theater on Zoom and other things. But everyone's asking that same question, like, how do we do digital virtual theater? What does that look like? Is it still theater if people aren't in a room together? So it was great to just have those philosophical conversations, but then make one show, and then to be invited to do this next show, Working the Musical, was scarier because it's a musical. It has only 6 actors in it, but now you're involving singing and choreography, and there are 6 characters or 6 actors playing 25 different characters. So costume changes and editing, and it was just going to be a larger thing entirely. So I had to say yes to it because it excited me a little bit more than it scared me. And that's always how I could tell that something's worthwhile, just a little bit more.
And the Christmas Carol, man, you did a magnificent job on that, Chris. I mean, I just love that, the way that you did that. And I don't know, is that still available for people? Because if you missed that gives you an idea of what Chris is talking about in regards to how do you bring it all together so it still feels like theater, because it's hard, because it's like a movie, it's like a video, and it's like, how do we do that? But yeah, I do want to commend you on what you did with that Christmas Carol, man. It was really good, really good job. So you've already led into the next production that you guys are going to be doing. So Krista, why don't you talk to us a little bit about that? Give us some information about what that is. Chris has led us into making it, what's this going to be? Sounds like it's going to be exciting.
Give you the overview of working, and kind of when Lita said to me that she said, when we started out, Julie, all the systems and the models are blown up, right? We don't have a subscription. We have former subscribers. Nobody subscribed this year. We jumped out of the gate, and Lita said, okay, we're going to do some things. And here are the buckets, right? We said, we'll do a Christmas show, and we'll do a play, and we'll do a spring musical, she said. I said, great. And then you have to figure out what's the spring musical is going to be, right? And we're so grateful that people came along with us, right? They've come along, and ticket buyers let us keep their money as a donation, or they put it on credit. And they've been willing to experiment and play with us, even though we gave them very vague information about what was coming in the next year, because nobody knew, right? So one day she said, I've found I know the perfect musical. I know who I want to direct it. I know who the music director is going to be. Now we got to get the rights, and it lends itself, she said, to the virtual world, because it's kind of shot in vignettes. Right. And 6 actors. Wow, that seems daunting, I know, to Chris and all the characters, right? But it's doable. I think we can do this, right? So we set about getting the rights, and we set about finding smart people like Chris to help us make it, right? But it's based on a book written in 1974 by Studs Terkel. So Studs was a radio interviewer back in the day. And it was kind of, as I understand it, the first time that anyone had talked to people about their jobs and about their work. And he interviewed hundreds of people. I have the book behind me, and it's yay thick. I mean, it's just a huge tome. of real people's stories about their jobs and their work and how they feel about it, how their identity is kind of wrapped up in their work. And I'm told that at that time in the mid 70s, it was kind of the book that every high school graduate got before they went off to college. Like it was that, right? That kind of had that kind of impact. And it seems so relevant for our times. You know, CATCO is really leaning into the contemporary part of our name and figuring out that we want that to look like going forward. And so here's a story that's, you know, this book is almost 50 years old. And yet it's as relevant today as it was then because of the time we're in with the pandemic and people have lost their jobs. And what does it mean as an actor to one day the work you love dries up, right? So I recently heard, and Chris did too, actually, in the first rehearsal of the play for Working, the director Daniela said, you know, when the pandemic hit, I lost all the jobs. I lost the jobs I love and I trained for, and I lost the jobs I do to survive, whether that's working in a restaurant or working retail she's given me permission to share that story. So I'm not telling her story without her permission, but that really sort of hit me that night about there were so many people who lost those jobs, the actors, and we don't hire people in the arts who make widgets, right? We hire highly trained, highly skilled, thousands of hours of practice, right, in these jobs. And it's going to be challenging, I think, to even ramp back up for a while to where we were before. It's going to take a long time. I talk a lot about us. I think we're functioning like a startup by evidence of we've been going show to show, right? We've been experimenting, trying some things, not betting the farm that it will sell tickets, but just trying and experimenting. So Working is really relevant for our times. And in fact, right now on another Zoom call, Leyva is having a conversation with some artists, the director and one of the actors from the show, about work and about how it's affected them, so that we can talk to legislators and decision makers about the real impact of this pandemic on the creative sector worker, right? And so it turns out to be a really lovely framework into that kind of larger conversation that's critical as we go forward. So the songs are super relevant, right? It's been updated. We're doing the 2012 version. It came out, as I understand it, Chris, you probably know better than me. It was on Broadway for a minute in the mid to late 70s. And then it closed, and then it's been done. A lot of high schools have done it, a lot of colleges have done it, some professional theaters for sure over the years. And in 2012, it was revised to have a little more updated language, so a couple of extra new songs from Lin-Manuel Miranda and James Taylor. And the other day I had a little road trip out to Dayton and back, and I listened to the soundtrack, all the way over and back. And the songs are really, really relevant. And I think they're going to resonate with people, right? People who found themselves working at home with their kids and whatnot during the pandemic.
The book that it's based on was by Studs Terkel. The musical was conceived of and written by Stephen Schwartz. And most of the dialogue from the musical is from the actual interviews. So it's really the voices of the people. Their names might be changed, but the people are all real that you're meeting. And even most of the song lyrics are concepts and things taken from the different interviews being done. So it's really based on that book and brought forth from that and put in a way. The way that it's constructed is a lot of monologue and a lot of song. And it's not so much that people are having conversations together, but it's the juxtaposition of people together. So one really great transition, just thinking about it, it's giving me goosebumps, is just this idea of a woman who works in a cubicle as a project manager. And she's talking through this, and she's saying people define themselves by their jobs, but jobs are too big for people. Like, I'm just somebody who does stuff. Like, I've had a couple of positions. I'm not project manager. My name is Amanda, and I've had jobs, and I do things to make a living. She's like, nobody is thinking about anymore having a job for life. And, you know, a lot of people are thinking, I'm going to get what I can from this job and I'm going to move on. And that's it. And many young people are thinking, this is my first job of many. And once she says, you know, starts talking about young people, suddenly we start seeing on the other side of the screen, we see somebody at their first job at a fast food restaurant. And he takes over and it's his song talking about his first job doing delivery for a fast food restaurant. So it's not just it's talking about how our experiences are connected. Even if the people in the show aren't talking to each other, it is in conversation with each other somehow. And I think that's the theatricality that we try to keep, is even though these people are separate, experience is what brings them together. And we've been trying to, in the rehearsals, when we record things, we've done it a little bit interestingly, technology-wise, just because of the nature of things and Zoom being unreliable to do shows sometimes and working with technology. So what we've done is each actor has gone off into their closet, into their kitchen cabinets, into wherever they can to record the songs. So we have great sounding music. So they do their part, the backing vocals and everything, wherever they can find that quiet space. I know one person puts up blankets on his kitchen cabinets and he goes inside there and sings. The things that we do to make it happen. So we take that, and then Jeremy, our music director, does the orchestrations. And then he creates that, puts it all together, and then he sends it back to us. And what we've been doing is on live Zoom, we have the actors set up separate iPhones in their spaces. So the iPhone is getting the video of each actor doing their performance, but we're using a Zoom call so that we get a sense of community. So we're all there in the room together, even though we're recording separately. So even though we're separate, it still feels like they're reacting to each other. And then we play the music and they sing it. They're not lip syncing, they're singing to themselves. So you see their performance and they're doing the dancing and doing the movement. And then I take all that stuff and I put it together and compile all of it in stacks and stacks of video footage. So we have a show somehow.
When can we see this play that you're working on right now? When is that going to be released?
It opens on April 29th. Is when it becomes live for everybody to see. And what's really been interesting about this time period is that it's because it's all online, anybody can see it from wherever they are. Anybody can come see a CATCO show and experience it.
Just said, Chris, has been beneficial to all of our theater companies, because we have, like you said, we have new audiences now. We reach other people. So do you see this, as I see it for Mind for God Productions, as I see it in the future of, we're going to have theater, but we also going to have that backup piece where other people can participate. Do you see that for CATCO?
You know, Julie, that's a question I think every theater company across the country is grappling with, right? I mean, for sure, the communal in the same space, making theater in person is the optimum, right? We've learned a lot. It's also a capacity issue, right? To your point, we trained to be arts administrators and theater actors, and a lot of us didn't train to be filmmakers or right. Chris is trained to do what he does. And so part of it, I think, will be a capacity issue, right? I've been thinking about the jobs that will be created out of the pandemic, right? That happened after 9/11, right? There were Homeland Security positions and all kinds of things that came out of 9/11 that we didn't have before. And I think it's the same in the pandemic. There'll be new jobs. But I think depending on the size and scale of your theater company, whether you can hire a whole production crew, right, will be a question. I think that's up for grabs, right? I do think we'll be smarter about how to enhance the production on the stage. So one of the things we've learned, and I love that you're asking such good questions, like Chris got to talk about the process of making working. And what we've really learned, Lita and I, is we have to work with our marketing team to really explain the process, because and manage people's expectations. Because if you show up to a Columbus Christmas Carol thinking you're going to see Hamilton on Disney Plus, you're going to be sadly mistaken, because that's not what we're making. We can't afford to make that, right? But if you understand that those actors were all over the country, in their own homes, working on an iPhone, in their kitchen cabinets or their closets, what we produced was pretty freaking amazing, right? But you have to help people understand that, right? And there are people who we hear this all the time, straight up do not like virtual theater. To them, theater on a screen, even though I know Lita and Chris and the actors make theatrical decisions, right? That was a decision we made early on, that decisions will be made from a theatrical point of view, not a movie making point of view, right? And we stuck with actors' equity contracts. We didn't go get SAG-AFTRA contracts, which some theater companies chose to, right? So I don't know for sure, Julie. I don't exactly know the answer to your question, except I think we can, coming out of this, we need to always talk about the process of theater making. We need to always help people understand that you don't just show up to the theater and it's this beautiful thing and it somehow magically happened. It was hours of work and hours of thought, and helping people understand that a little bit better. I think we can definitely do that over Zoom or making short videos, or, you know.
Okay, guys, it's party time at CATCO, right? I heard that there's a big gala that's getting ready to come down, and I need you guys to tell us about it. Do I get to come? Do I get to dress up? How is this going to happen? And talk to us. I don't care which one of you do it, but tell us about the gala that's coming up this week.
Yeah, so it's Friday night, this coming Friday night, Julie, April 16th. The theme is Our Stage, Our City. And the good news is you can come for free. The gala is free to watch and to view. It'll be live on Friday night, and then we'll have a recording that'll be on our site for a few more days. Starting at 5:30, CATCO's own Mr. Andrew is going to do an interactive children's piece from 5:30 to 6 or 6:05. And then at about 6:15 is when the actual program begins. And Lita has written and conceived of the program with a lot of help from a lot of smart people. Chris helped us on the script, and thank you, Chris, by the way. We've been working on this for a couple of months. It's like another production, right? In the middle of working, we're producing this gala, which is all virtual, right? All online. We have there's about 35 total actors and performances throughout. It's just a 45-minute program, kind of shortened to the point. And we're talking about it as kind of infotainment. So it's a glimpse into CATCO, what we've done the last year, what we're looking forward to the future. And then you'll be entertained. I mean, I've seen, some of it's pre-recorded, some of it's live. We've got a mix in there. And I just think it's gonna be a great, fun hour, and it's really meant to celebrate our city and celebrate CATCO and celebrate actors. And I'm a big believer in, we got to celebrate every now and then. We all work really hard, and we accomplish that goal, and they go, "Oh, that was great, we got that goal. Okay, on to the next one," without taking a minute to celebrate. And there's a minute here to celebrate. So this Friday night. 6:15, log on. It'll be on our website. So all you have to do is get to catco.org, and you can get a link right there to the show. Yeah, Chris.
Chris, you want to add something to that?
I do. Also, if you're curious, at the gala, you get your very first glimpse of one of the pieces from Working. So you'll get a glimpse of one of the songs from Working this Friday at the gala. But I won't tell you all the surprises that are in store. But
well, that sounds so exciting, and you're so right. We have to have some kind of celebrations about things that we have accomplished through this pandemic, and that we can do, and that we can enjoy. And theater is one of those things. It really is. And whether it's we have to see it at this time virtually, okay, we'll do that. But it's coming back. We will be back in the seats. We will have the feel of thunder clapping and all that stuff, guys. It's coming back.
I think we'll have just a huge resurgence. I really think. I was actually listening to a podcast yesterday of a national guy in the arts, and like we should probably be ready for the onslaught of all these people who have missed these experiences for the last 14, 15 months, and it'll be more by the time we're back in the theaters, right?
Mhm.
Who are ready to get out and ready to come, and we need to be ready to welcome them and engage them, and right. So thank you again, Julie, for having us. This has really been fun, and what a great service you're providing to the theater community, right? I mean, I talk all the time about the theater ecosystem in Columbus, right? And we need each other. We from the big to the little. We all need. It's an ecosystem, right? We need everybody. So thank you for shining a light and letting us talk a little bit and tell our story today. This Friday night, April 16th. 5:30 with Mr. Andrew, 6:15 for the adult program on our website, catco.org, or catco.org/gala also works. We would just love to see as many people, hang in with, come with us and celebrate with us on Friday night. You'll get a sneak peek of Working, which opens.
It opens on April 29th, which is a date that lingers in my mind as we go through rehearsals and editing. Like that just flashes in my mind. But I'm really excited for audiences to experience the production. I wish we could see their reaction, because I feel like that's the one piece that we don't get in that immediate moment. We get that joy of each other, but watching it with other people I think that's what we miss in those reactions. So come see it. Let us know what you think about it. Follow CATCO on Facebook, CATCO on Instagram, comment, engage with us. We still want to hear from our audiences, because it is a community of people coming together to be changed by this art form.
Well, thank you so much, you guys. I know I personally will be watching a gala. I'll have there might be minors watching. I'll have some tea and cookies, okay, as I watch you guys, and so I can celebrate with you for your gala and everything that you guys have accomplished this past year and that you're going to be doing moving forward. So thank you again for being on Julie Whitney Scott Presents.
Thank you, Julie.
Thanks, Julie.
Let's talk theater with Julie Whitney Scott. Thank you for joining me, Julie Whitney Scott, your producer and host of Let's Talk Theater, a Mind for God production sponsored event, heard only on WGRN LP 94.1. For the full video interview, go to my Julie Whitney Scott Facebook page.